Welcome to Stoic Blueprint. In our pursuit of meaningful connections, particularly within the intricate world of modern dating, we aspire to find understanding, mutual respect, and genuine partnership. However, sometimes hidden beneath a captivating exterior, manipulative forces can operate, the subtle, often unacknowledged dynamics of dark psychology. Have you ever found yourself caught in a relationship that felt like an exhilarating whirlwind, only to be left feeling confused, emotionally drained, or even doubting your own perceptions? Maybe you experienced an intense connection that seemed almost too perfect, but then watched it unexpectedly sour. Or perhaps you're navigating the dating scene right now, feeling uncertain about how to distinguish authentic interest from carefully constructed manipulation? If these questions resonate with you, then you are in the right place. Today we delve into a critical subject: dark psychology in dating. Our aim isn't simply to list negative traits, but to truly illuminate the shadows. We will explore the underlying reasons why individuals employ these methods, equip you to clearly recognize the crucial warning signs, the red flags, and provide a practical framework inspired by timeless wisdom to safeguard yourself, establish firm boundaries, and cultivate the truly healthy relationships you deserve. This knowledge is more than just interesting. It's essential for navigating modern relationships with clarity and protecting your emotional well-being. Stay with me, because understanding this framework can empower you to build connections on a foundation of strength and awareness. Number 1. Unmasking common manipulative tactics. Being aware of the motivations leads us to recognizing the methods themselves. These tactics are often interwoven, creating a confusing emotional fog. Let's shed light on some of the most common strategies employed. One frequently encountered approach, especially early on, is love bombing. This goes far beyond simple enthusiasm. It's a calculated overload of affection and attention designed to sweep you off your feet. Think constant communication from the very beginning, declarations of intense connection, or being soulmates remarkably quickly, perhaps within days or weeks. It often involves mirroring your deepest interests and desires perfectly, making you feel uncannily understood. Lavish gifts or grand gestures that feel disproportionate to the short time you've known each other might also be part of this phase. The core goal here is to create rapid emotional dependency. They aim to get you hooked, feeling incredibly special and possibly indebted before your rational mind has a chance to catch up or notice inconsistencies. Remember, healthy connections typically build gradually. Love bombing aims to overwhelm. Another insidious method involves gaslighting. This is a form of psychological manipulation aimed squarely at making you doubt your own reality, your memory, your perceptions, even your sanity. A person using gaslighting might blatantly deny saying or doing things you clearly remember. They might twist your words to change their meaning, or dismiss your feelings by saying things like, "You're just being overly sensitive," "You're imagining things," or the classic, "That never happened." When subjected to this repeatedly, you might start to internalize the doubt, asking yourself, "Maybe I am remembering it wrong. Maybe I am overreacting." This erosion of self-trust is precisely the manipulator's goal. It makes you more reliant on their distorted version of events and thus easier to control. Furthermore, manipulators often employ triangulation. This strategy involves introducing a third person or entity into the relationship dynamic to deliberately create instability, jealousy, or competition. This third element isn't always a romantic rival. It could involve constantly comparing you to an ex-partner, sometimes praising the ex, sometimes criticizing them, but always keeping that person psychologically present in your relationship. It might manifest as flirting openly with others in front of you, then accusing you of insecurity if you react negatively. They might even manufacture drama involving friends or family, positioning themselves as the desirable figure caught in the middle. The underlying purpose is to keep you feeling insecure and off balance, constantly vying for their attention and approval, thus distracting you from evaluating their own questionable behavior. We also see the damaging pattern of intermittent reinforcement, often described as hot and cold behavior. This involves cycles of intense affection, similar to the initial love bombing, followed abruptly by periods of withdrawal, criticism, silence, or emotional unavailability. Then, just as you're feeling hurt, confused, and perhaps ready to distance yourself, they switch back to being charming, attentive, and loving. This unpredictable pattern of reward and withdrawal is psychologically potent, creating a dynamic similar to addiction. You find yourself constantly hoping for the return of the good person, tolerating increasing amounts of negative behavior in pursuit of those intermittent moments of affection. This emotional roller coaster can forge a strong, unhealthy attachment known as a trauma bond. Finally, be aware of tactics like guilt tripping and blame shifting. Manipulators frequently make you feel responsible for their emotions or negative actions, using phrases like, "I wouldn't have gotten so angry if you hadn't questioned me," or, "You know how stressed I am. The least you could do is." They effectively weaponize your natural empathy and sense of fairness against you. This often goes hand in hand with blame shifting, where nothing is ever truly their fault. If they make a mistake, the responsibility is deflected onto their boss, their upbringing, external circumstances, or frequently onto you. They consistently avoid taking genuine accountability for their choices and their impact on others. Related to this is the tendency to play the perpetual victim, exaggerating past hardships or current difficulties to elicit sympathy, excuse poor behavior, and make it harder for you to hold them accountable without feeling guilty yourself. These tactics, especially when used in combination, can create a deeply confusing and emotionally taxing experience. Learning to identify them clearly is your first essential shield. Number 2, recognizing the warning signs in your interactions. Knowing the names of these tactics is crucial, but recognizing them as they unfold in real-time interactions requires attentive observation. What are the practical signs, the concrete red flags in someone's behavior or in the relationship dynamic that should signal caution? Think of these as your early warning system. A fundamental signal lies in glaring inconsistencies. Pay close attention to discrepancies between what someone says and what they actually do. Do they emphasize the importance of honesty but engage in frequent white lies or evasiveness? Does their account of their life story seem to shift, contain vague patches, or simply not add up over time? Do they make grand, exciting promises about your shared future? Trips, introductions to family, long-term plans, but consistently fail to follow through on even small, everyday commitments? This pattern of consistent inconsistency is a major indicator that something is amiss. A narrative built on manipulation often lacks a stable foundation and will reveal cracks under scrutiny. Equally important is noticing how the relationship consistently makes you feel. Tune in to your emotional barometer regularly. While all relationships have natural fluctuations, healthy connections generally foster feelings of security, respect, and ease. Warning signs emerge if you frequently feel anxious, on edge, or as if you're constantly walking on eggshells around the person. Do interactions often leave you feeling emotionally drained, confused, guilty, or somehow inadequate? Do you find yourself perpetually trying to manage their mood or anticipate their reactions? Are you minimizing your own needs and feelings to avoid potential conflict? Do intense emotional highs seem inevitably followed by sudden, inexplicable lows? Trust these feelings. Persistent negative emotional responses are valuable data, strongly suggesting that the dynamic is unhealthy at its core. Another revealing pattern involves attempts at isolation. Manipulators often subtly or overtly try to distance you from your established support system, your friends, family, or colleagues who offer balancing perspectives. Why? Because isolation increases your dependency on the manipulator and makes you more susceptible to their influence. Watch for behaviors like criticizing your loved ones, even if disguised as concern. Your friend seems like a bad influence, or does your family really understand you like I do? Notice if they try to monopolize your time, making you feel guilty for wanting to pursue your own interests or see other people. Be alert to attempts to create friction or misunderstandings between you and your support network. Excessive jealousy or attempts to monitor your communications and whereabouts are also red flags. This isn't about genuine closeness. It's a strategy aimed at control. Observe how they respond to your boundaries. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect for limits. Manipulative dynamics often involve consistent boundary testing or outright violations. Do they push for physical intimacy, deep emotional disclosures, or relationship milestones faster than you feel comfortable with? Do they ignore your stated no, perhaps dismissing it playfully at first? Oh, don't be like that, but persisting until you give in? Do they repeatedly bring up sensitive subjects you've clearly indicated you don't wish to discuss? Do they disregard your need for personal space or time alone? How someone reacts when you assert a boundary is incredibly telling. Respect and acceptance signal health. Pushback, anger, sulking, guilt-tripping, or manipulation signal a serious problem. Pay attention as well to signs of entitlement and a lack of empathy, often visible in how they treat others, particularly those in service roles or perceived as having less status. Do they act as if rules or common courtesy don't apply to them? Do they exhibit genuine remorse or understanding when they've hurt someone, including you? Or is their primary reaction annoyance at being called out or inconvenienced? A fundamental lack of empathy rarely confines itself to one area of life. It inevitably impacts close relationships. Finally, consider their approach to accountability. Do they consistently deflect blame when issues arise? Is it always someone else's fault? Their ex, their boss, their childhood, or frequently you? Do they offer non-apologies? I'm sorry you feel that way, that avoid taking any real ownership of their actions or impact? A persistent inability to self-reflect, admit fault, learn from mistakes, and offer sincere apologies is a critical warning sign. It indicates emotional immaturity and a strong resistance to taking responsibility, which are common traits in manipulative individuals. And underlying all these observable signs, always remember to listen to your intuition. That persistent gut feeling, that quiet inner voice suggesting something isn't right, even when you can't immediately pinpoint the logical reason, do not dismiss it. Your subconscious mind excels at pattern recognition, picking up on subtle inconsistencies in tone, body language, or behavior that your conscious mind might overlook or rationalize away. Treat that intuitive nudge not as paranoia, but as valuable data prompting you to pay closer attention and investigate further. It's often your most reliable internal guide trying to protect you. Recognizing these red flags is a powerful act of self-awareness and protection. If this detailed exploration is helping you build a clearer understanding and strengthen your own resilience, please take a brief moment now to click the like button below this video. Doing so helps Stoic Blueprint reach more individuals who could benefit from this crucial information. Number 3, fortifying yourself, the power of healthy boundaries. Awareness of the problem is the essential first step, but true empowerment comes from taking informed action. Here at Stoic Blueprint, we emphasize focusing on what lies within our sphere of control. Our judgments, our responses, our choices, and the standards we set for ourselves and others. In the realm of dating and relationships, one of the most potent actions you can take is to establish and consistently defend healthy personal boundaries. Think of boundaries not as aggressive fortifications designed to shut people out, but rather as clear, respectful communications of your limits, your needs, and your core values. They are fundamental for self-preservation and for fostering relationships built on genuine mutual respect. The foundation for effective boundary setting lies in deep self-awareness. You cannot effectively protect territory you haven't clearly mapped out. Before you can communicate your limits to others, you must understand your own internal landscape. Take the time for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what principles are truly non-negotiable for me in a relationship? Things like honesty, kindness, respect for my independence. What are my absolute deal breakers? What do I genuinely need from a partner to feel safe, seen, and respected? Perhaps open communication, emotional validation, or sufficient personal space. It's also vital to acknowledge your potential vulnerabilities. Do you have a tendency towards people-pleasing, or perhaps a fear of conflict that makes asserting yourself difficult? Have past experiences left you susceptible to certain manipulative tactics, like craving intense validation, which makes you vulnerable to love bombing? Understanding your own needs, values, and potential weak spots provides the clarity needed to define what you will and won't accept. Integral to this process is learning to honor your intuition. As we've discussed, that inner sense that something feels off is a powerful guidance system. When it speaks, listen. Don't suppress it or rationalize it away simply because someone is charming, persuasive, or because you fear being alone. Acknowledge the feeling. Treat it as important information, signaling that you need to proceed with caution, observe more closely, or perhaps create distance. Your intuition is often working to keep you safe. With self-awareness and intuition as your guides, the next step is mastering assertive communication. This is how you bring your boundaries into the real world. Assertiveness is the balanced and respectful expression of your needs and limits. It's distinct from passive acceptance, where boundaries are crossed without comment, and also distinct from aggressive communication, which violates others' boundaries. Effective assertive communication often involves using I statements to frame things from your own perspective. For instance, saying, I feel uncomfortable when jokes are made about my friends is generally received better than, "You're always insulting my friends." Similarly, "I need some time to myself this evening" is clearer and less accusatory than, "You're smothering me." This approach focuses on your experience and needs, minimizing defensiveness in the other person. Assertive communication is also about being clear and direct. Avoid ambiguity or hinting. State your limit or need simply, calmly, and firmly. Examples include, "I need some space tonight. I'm not comfortable discussing that topic right now." Or, "Please don't raise your voice when speaking to me." Furthermore, embrace the fundamental right to say no without excessive guilt or explanation. You are entitled to decline requests, invitations, or pressures that don't align with your comfort level, values, or capacity. No is a complete sentence. Practice delivering it calmly and firmly. "No, thank you." "No, I'm not available then." "No, I'm not comfortable moving that quickly." Often, the less justification you offer, the less room you leave for argument or manipulation. Finally, and perhaps most critically, understand that setting a boundary is only the first step. Consistency in enforcing it is paramount. Manipulative individuals in particular will often test your boundaries repeatedly to see if you truly mean what you say. A boundary without a consequence for its violation is merely a suggestion. If you state a limit, for example, "If you yell at me again, I will end this conversation," and the person yells, you must follow through by ending the conversation. This consistency is what teaches others how you expect and deserve to be treated. While setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable initially, remember that healthy, respectful individuals will appreciate your clarity. Those who react with anger, persistent pushback, guilt-tripping, or further manipulation are clearly demonstrating why those boundaries were necessary in the first place. It's an act of profound self-respect. Number 4, navigating the aftermath. Healing from manipulative relationships. It's possible you are listening to this because the descriptions of these tactics and dynamics resonate painfully with a past relationship, or perhaps even one you are currently navigating. The emotional aftermath of being involved with someone who employs dark psychology can be deeply wounding, leaving invisible scars that affect your sense of self, your trust in others, and your outlook on future connections. If this is your experience, please internalize this truth. It was not your fault. You were subjected to sophisticated manipulation, often designed specifically to bypass your natural defenses and exploit your vulnerabilities. Healing from this experience is possible, and the journey begins with acknowledging its impact. The first crucial step on this path is to validate your own experience and acknowledge its profound impact. Allow yourself to recognize the reality of what happened and the legitimacy of your feelings. You might be grappling with intense confusion, perhaps cognitive dissonance, holding conflicting feelings of love and hurt simultaneously. You might feel deep shame or embarrassment, wrongly blaming yourself for not seeing it sooner. You might struggle with pervasive anxiety, hypervigilance, or a profound loss of trust, not just in others, but perhaps even in your own judgment. You might be grieving the loss of the relationship you thought you had, or the person you believed them to be. In some cases, prolonged emotional abuse can lead to symptoms consistent with complex PTSD. Allow yourself to feel all of it without judgment. Name these feelings, write them down, affirm that emotional abuse is real abuse, and your pain is a valid response to genuine harm. Crucially, healing shouldn't happen in isolation. Manipulators often use isolation as a tool, so breaking that isolation and seeking wise, supportive connections is a powerful act of recovery. Confide in trusted friends or family members, those who are empathetic, non-judgmental, and willing to simply listen and believe your experience. Be prepared that some people may not fully understand, especially if they only saw the manipulator's public charm. Focus your energy on those who offer genuine support and validation. Explain that what you need most, initially, might be simply to be heard and believed. Alongside personal support networks, seeking professional help is often essential. A therapist, particularly one experienced in trauma, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse recovery, or personality disorders, can provide invaluable guidance and tools. Therapy offers a safe, confidential space to process the complex emotions involved, to understand the dynamics of what happened, to rebuild damaged self-esteem, and to develop healthy coping strategies for moving forward. Don't hesitate to seek out therapists with specific expertise in these areas. Finding the right therapeutic fit can be transformative. Additionally, connecting with others who have endured similar experiences, perhaps through reputable, professionally moderated support groups, can provide immense validation and combat the profound sense of loneliness that often accompanies recovery from manipulation. Sharing experiences within a supportive community can remind you that you are not alone. The journey inward involves embracing the healing process with patience and profound self-compassion. Healing is rarely linear. It involves ups and downs, progress and setbacks. Be radically kind to yourself throughout this journey. Prioritize deep, nourishing self-care, activities that genuinely restore your mind, body, and spirit. This goes beyond basic maintenance. It's about actively investing in your well-being, whether through time in nature, creative expression, mindfulness practices, gentle physical activity, or ensuring deep, restorative rest. Make these activities non-negotiable priorities. Often, manipulative relationships cause us to lose touch with our own identity. Part of healing involves rediscovering yourself. Reconnect with hobbies, passions, interests, and friendships that you may have let fade during the relationship. Explore activities that bring you joy and remind you of who you are outside of that dynamic. Remember the parts of yourself that existed before and consciously reclaim them. Journaling can be a powerful ally in this process, offering a private space to explore thoughts, process emotions, track your progress, and gain clarity. A significant part of healing involves rebuilding trust. Starting with yourself, learn to trust your judgment and intuition again. This takes practice. Start small, make minor decisions based on your gut feelings and observe the outcomes. Gradually rebuild confidence in your internal compass. And while educating yourself further about manipulation tactics can be validating, do so mindfully. Understanding concepts like gaslighting or trauma bonding can bring immense clarity, but avoid getting trapped in obsessive research that prevents you from moving forward. Balance learning with active healing practices. Finally, consider the concept of forgiveness, primarily as a gift to yourself. This doesn't necessarily mean condoning the manipulator's behavior or seeking reconciliation. It can be about releasing the consuming anger and resentment that binds you to the past, freeing up your emotional energy for healing and growth. It might also involve forgiving yourself for not recognizing the signs sooner, acknowledging that you did the best you could with the information you had at the time. This aspect of healing is deeply personal and unfolds at its own pace. Remember, the goal is not to erase the experience, but to integrate it into your life story in a way that empowers you. It becomes a chapter that, however painful, taught you invaluable lessons about your own resilience, the importance of boundaries, and the nature of true respect. You move forward not broken, but wiser and stronger. Number 5, empowering your future, a proactive toolkit for healthy connections. Having explored the landscape of manipulation, sharpened our awareness of red flags, fortified our defenses with boundaries, and charted a course through healing, let's now solidify your toolkit for ongoing protection and empowerment. This is about moving forward proactively, applying wisdom to shape a future defined by healthier connections, a core principle here at Stoic Blueprint. Moving forward equipped with this understanding requires a commitment to lifelong informed discernment. Continue to educate yourself about healthy relationship dynamics and manipulative tactics, but curate your sources carefully. Follow reputable psychologists, licensed therapists, and researchers who specialize in these areas. Engage with well-researched books, documentaries, or podcasts, always evaluating the credibility of the source. The aim here isn't to cultivate cynicism or hypervigilance, expecting manipulation around every corner. Rather, it's about maintaining an informed awareness that allows you to recognize potentially harmful patterns quickly and trust your judgment when something feels off, enabling you to navigate new connections with wisdom rather than fear. This internal fortification is complemented by knowing your practical resources and rights, especially if the manipulation involved harassment, stalking, financial abuse, or other forms of tangible harm. Depending on the situation and your location, familiarizing yourself with legal options, such as restraining or protective orders, might be necessary. Knowing about support hotlines for domestic or emotional abuse can provide immediate advice and safety planning resources. If digital monitoring or online harassment was part of the experience, taking steps to enhance your cybersecurity is also prudent. While hopefully unnecessary, having awareness of these practical protective measures can provide an additional layer of security. Perhaps the most potent tool for long-term empowerment lies in consciously reframing your narrative. Manipulation often aims to leave you feeling like a powerless victim, defined by the negative experience. However, you hold the power to rewrite that story from a perspective of strength and resilience. Embrace the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control. Your thoughts, your judgments, your responses, your choices moving forward, and the standards you uphold for yourself and your relationships. You could not control the manipulator's actions, but you absolutely can control your healing journey, the lessons you integrate, and the quality of connections you choose to cultivate now. Shift your internal self-talk from victim to survivor and learner. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by your resilience in enduring it, your courage in facing the healing process, and your commitment to growth. Actively identify the lessons learned from the experience, however painful. What did it teach you about your own needs and values? What red flags will you now recognize instantly? What qualities define the healthy, respectful partnership you truly deserve? Frame these insights not as scars, but as invaluable hard-won wisdom that strengthens you for the future. Ultimately, the most robust defense against manipulation and the most solid foundation for healthy relationships is cultivating a strong, respectful, and loving relationship with yourself. Invest consistently in building your self-worth from within, independent of external validation. Know your value intrinsically. Learn to enjoy your own company and trust your own judgment. When you possess a strong core of self-respect and self-awareness, you become far less susceptible to those who seek to diminish, control, or exploit others. This journey of self-discovery and self-validation aligns perfectly with the principles we explore here at Stoic Blueprint. So, finally building a future on awareness and authenticity. Navigating the complexities of dating and relationships in today's world demands awareness, courage, and an unwavering commitment to your own emotional well-being. Dark psychology tactics are unfortunately a real phenomenon, and their impact can be significant. However, as we've explored today, they are not insurmountable. By cultivating a deep understanding of these dynamics, sharpening your ability to recognize the warning signs, diligently building and maintaining healthy boundaries, prioritizing your healing journey, and consciously owning your narrative, you transition from a position of potential vulnerability to one of empowered self-determination. Hold this truth firmly. You fundamentally deserve relationships built upon a foundation of mutual respect, honesty, genuine empathy, and authentic care. You have an inherent right to feel safe, to be seen, to be valued, and to be respected for exactly who you are. Never settle for connections that leave you feeling diminished, confused, anxious, or unsafe. Trust your intuition implicitly, honor your needs without apology, and cultivate the courage to walk away from any situation or relationship that consistently undermines your sense of self-worth. Thank you for investing your valuable time and attention with us today on Stoic Blueprint. If this in-depth guide has provided you with clarity, validation, or practical tools you can implement, please consider showing your support by clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement is greatly appreciated. It helps this vital information reach more people who may be searching for guidance and strength, and it supports our mission here. We also warmly invite you to share your thoughts, insights, or key takeaways respectfully in the comments section below. Let's continue to build a community grounded in wisdom, resilience, and mutual support. Move forward with this knowledge, not as a heavy burden of suspicion, but as a bright lantern of awareness, illuminating your path as you navigate towards healthier, more authentic, and genuinely fulfilling connections. You possess the blueprint. Now build your future with wisdom and unwavering self-respect.